Hey there, I'm Han.
And I'm Kat, and we're Brews and Reviews.
Now, I know we're a little bit late for this video, however we have been tagged by Stephanie from Stacks and Stacks and Stacks in the mid-year book freakout tag.
Yeah.
So, trying to get all the books for this tag was incredibly hard.
Yeah, we put a picture up on our Instagram of how
A
giant...
towering mound of books.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I'm still ill, so if I sound like I'm gonna die, that's
Probably
because of that. Yeah. So let's get right into it.
Question 1. What is the best book you've read this year? Okay, so I sort of chose two. I chose Lord of Shadows by Cassandra Clare and An Emperor in the Ashes by Saba Tahir. I really enjoyed both of these books. I mean, I love the whole world that this book is set in, but this book really surprised me and I loved the characters in it. I loved the whole storyline. It really was gripping. I've just recently read the sequel to it, which was just as fabulous, and it's generally, it was on par with this, and that's not an easy feat, so it was really, really brilliant, really, really good.
I also chose two books. I chose Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton, and I'm kind of cheating with what I'm going to hold up because this is the sequel to it, but my copy of Red Rising isn't coming in the post until tomorrow, so Red Rising by Pierce Brown. I just absolutely love these books for two separate reasons. Obviously this one is this one. I say this one while I'm holding up two books, yeah. Jurassic Park is a classic. It evokes the exact same feelings that the movie made me feel, and I think that's really special. Red Rising is just, I just got so sucked into this world and I didn't want to put it down. I just genuinely really, really enjoyed it.
Question 2. What is the best sequel you've read so far in 2017?
Okay, so I'm not usually being a big fan of sequels. The sequels that I've read this year haven't necessarily been my favourite, or I've tended to have liked the first book more.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with Cruel and Unusual by Patricia Cornwell. You don't necessarily have to have read the other books to have read this one. So I kind of like it because it could be a standalone sort of thing. You could read it just on its own, and I just enjoy these ones. I enjoy all the Kay Scarpetta books. So.
My answers for this one are pretty much the same as the other one. It is Lord of Shadows. Obviously this is the sequel after Lady Midnight, and again, gave me all the feels, I love it. And this one is Torch Against the Night. This is the sequel to An Ember in the Ashes that I've just previously talked about. Again, like I said, it literally jumps straight into the action. It's just brilliant. It just puts me on edge at really good parts, and I just really enjoy it. The whole series I'm loving. Question 3. What's a new release that you haven't read yet but you want to?
Winter Song by S.J. Jones. I haven't read it yet, even though it's here in my hands, because we are waiting to buddy read this with Becca and Mike over at Books and Looks in August, so it's just going to have to stay
sit a little bit longer
in my hands for a little bit. I can wait, I promise.
I have chosen Some Kind of Wonderful by Giovanni Fletcher. I'm a real big fan of Giovanni Fletcher, and the whole of McFly, but that's another story. But yeah, Giovanni Fletcher, I absolutely love her. You know, I follow her on Instagram, everything. I think she's wonderful. But I'm really trying to get into contemporary, and I've heard some really great reviews of her stories. So I'm hoping that'll be a good entry to the, contemporary world. So, question 4. What's your most anticipated release for the second part of 2017? I haven't really got an answer for this one, simply because I've been so preoccupied with the huge list on my TBR anyway, that I just haven't particularly been looking for new books to add to it, because it's majorly stressing me out that I've got so many awesome books that I need to read and I feel like I'm getting nowhere near to it. So I'm trying to hold off from the scouting out of new books for a little while.
Whereas I have a book buying problem. I've just ordered 7 more books last night. Shh, don't tell anyone. And not among the ones that I ordered last night were Dan Brown Origin, because I actually really like Dan Brown. I sort of get sucked into them. Someone I know recommended them to me, and yeah, I just really like them. I think they're kind of interesting. I mean, it can be very far-fetched and all that, but I do find them very interesting. So. The other book that I am really anticipating reading is Nixia by Scott Reitgen? I don't know how you pronounce his name. I'm really sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Rather than me explaining what this book is about, I would suggest that you go over to Books and Looks, because Becca read an arc of this and she did a really good review on it, and it made me really want to read it.
Yeah,
so.
It does sound pretty good, to be fair. Yeah. So question 5, what's been the biggest disappointment?
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say that any of them are disappointing, because honestly, I know if it's not going to be good when I go into it. I know if it's not going to be like a masterpiece, like, so then you're not really that disappointed, because you already know that it's going to kind of not be the best piece of work ever. I was a little disappointed in Your Mind Now by Hans Koppel, because I was just disappointed in some of the decisions that the characters made. They just didn't make any sense. They're just stupid, really, and I couldn't really get over the fact that characters were stupid.
Again, I don't think I've actually had a disappointment of this year with reading. Like, all of the books I've read have been fab and I've really enjoyed them. However, I did reread Hush Hush by Becca Fitzpatrick, and it just didn't feel the same when I read it now than when I was, from when I was younger, when I read it first. And it was a bit like I'm starting a third book and it's like, I'm just gonna leave it. Question 6, the biggest surprise of 2017.
I think I went with Jurassic Park, because I knew I was going to like it, but I didn't expect I would like it to the extent that I liked it. I couldn't stop talking about this book. I was like, I want to get back in the car and listen to this, because it's amazing. It was really, really... it just made me so tense, and I was like, oh my god, is everyone going to die? Oh, even though I knew they weren't going to die, but it was just really well written, and I just genuinely really enjoyed it, and I want to read it again all the time.
It's made me want to read it as well. Like, I never thought to read the book because I was so happy with the series, the films, but I really would like to read it now.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so worth reading.
I've chose 2 for this. The first one is Everything Everything by Nicola Yoon, simply because I don't tend to read that many contemporaries, but for what it was, I loved it. I really, really enjoyed it, and it's given me hope to read more and that I will enjoy them. I liked everything about it. It was just a nice, happy, easy read. The second is An Ember in the Ashes.
Sensing a theme here.
I know, but I love it. Like, I can't even explain how much I love it. It was just brilliant, and the reason why it was a surprise is because I got it for Christmas, but it was probably the lowest on my to-read list from the books that I got.
Yeah, it was the one that you were like, I'll leave that till last,
Yeah.
because I'm not as interested in that as the others.
Yeah, yet it was the one I enjoyed most, so it's generally like an all-time favourite of mine. I really love it. Question 7, who is your favourite new author?
I went with Pierce Brown. Even though the only book that I've read in this series is Red Rising, I am already completely smitten with his work. I just don't know what to say about it. It's generally so well written, and I really enjoyed how the story was crafted, and I just know that I need to read the rest of his work.
I have got 2 for this. The first one is Saboteur, simply because of the series. I just love it. I won't go too much into it because I've already babbled about it. The second is Julie Kagawa. I've recently just read the Iron Face series, and I really, really enjoyed it. Like, her writing style, I don't know what it was, but it really pulled me in, and I felt like her books got progressively better as the series went on, and it kept hold of me throughout it. I didn't particularly lose interest at any point, and I just really enjoyed the series. I've also got a new book that I had for my birthday, didn't I? Called Talon by her, which I'm really excited to read, so hopefully I can get on that soon. Question 8, who is your newest fictional crush?
I have 2, because apparently I can't help myself. My first is Jem Carstairs from The Infernal Devices, because he's so cute. Yes. He's so sweet, and everything about him, I just love him. He's so cute. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's all I've got to say. I'm
Yeah.
not going to say much more because I feel like it would get into spoiler territory, and I don't want to say anything about it. My second favourite fictional crush of this year is Jamie Fraser from Outlander. I feel like I shouldn't like this as much, like it as much as I do, but while I had a lot of problems with Outlander, and there are some problems in particular that I had with Jamie, I still really like him. Like, there's something about him, he's just so cute. And like, well, for the most part, it's just so cute, and I really enjoy him as a character. And like,
and in the series he's fit.
This is true.
Sorry.
Yeah, so if I fell through time, I'd quite like Jamie to find me, and like,
who wouldn't? I mean, surprise, surprise! Mine's Elias from An Ember in the Ashes, simply because he makes my heart melt. I love Elias, and I'm pretty much in love with Elias, and I want Elias in my life, and I just love Elias.
He's quite cute though, isn't
he? He is adorable. Like, I love Elias. I just love him. Love him. Question 9. Who is your newest favourite character?
Darrow from Red Rising, because he's awesome. I really enjoy his character development throughout Red Rising, so he's just great.
Elias? Maybe? Just Elias. Elias.
What are you gonna do?
Question 10. A book that made you cry.
Well, given that both of the books that made us cry are not first books in a series, we're not going to actually say anything about them. We're just going to hold them up and try not to cry as we do so.
I think it says a lot though.
I know. I wasn't expecting to cry at this book because I haven't had as much of an attachment as everyone else seems to have to it.
I had loads of that book. Like, it made me an emotional wreck.
It made me an emotional wreck, but like, I wasn't expecting it as well. I think that's why it was worse. I was like, what?
Like, in this one I cried more at a beautiful part than like a little part. Question 11. A book that made you happy. So one of the ones I chose is The Bane Chronicles, simply because I've read a few of them before but never like read them all. So I got this at Christmas and I was like, I've just got to read it. Because Magnus, like, I really enjoy Magnus.
He's like my favourite character in the whole thing.
And he's just brilliant. I love seeing all of his adventures and his friendships throughout the years, and it was just a nice, good feel book, and yeah, I just really enjoyed it. I also chose Everything by Nicola Yoon.
So did I. This is my happy book of the year as well. It just made me smile.
It did. It was generally like a lovely, nice book, wasn't it?
Yeah, it makes you, even though there's like obviously stuff that goes down and like less than positive things that happen in it, but just the way it's written and like the banter in it, just it made me smile the whole way through.
Question 12. Favourite book to film adaptation?
So, okay, we haven't really watched any book to film adaptations that we can remember at all, which probably isn't very good. We've been a bit lax on our movie going, haven't we?
We have.
But we recently started watching Outlander, so I'm going to kind of cheat and say that this TV series is one of my favourites. I'm just really enjoying it. I actually like a lot of the characters more in the TV series than I did in the books, and yeah, it's great. Like,
I haven't read the books to these, but obviously I started watching it with you, and I love it. Like, I really like it. Question 13. What's your favourite review that you have written this year? Well, or favourite video you've made?
I think for me it's either Books and Boats, where we went on a day trip on the Canaldo and we found free books randomly. Win. Yeah. We also just took our books and did some reading in the sun and got horrifically sunburned. Yeah. So that's fun. Otherwise, probably my favourite review is Plague Pit, because I just enjoyed getting to go off on a ranty rant.
You seriously went off. You were on a whole other level.
Well, if you'd read it, you would have done as well though, because it was a big pile of crap.
Again, my favourite video was also Books and Boats. We just it was just a lovely day, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really fun.
Like really nice. And I know it's not really a review, but it was still a fantastic day out for me. It was the video we put together from our Harry Potter weekend.
Yeah.
And we went to London and we went to see Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone at the Royal Albert Hall with a live orchestra. And we also went to Harry Potter World, and it was just incredible.
It's kind of magical, wasn't
yeah,
it? Really?
It really was. I don't mean to sound cheesy saying magical, but it was.
Yeah.
Like, there's no other way to describe it. And yeah, it was just an experience that I've always wanted, and I finally had it. Question 14. What is the most beautiful book that you have either bought or received this year?
I went with Fire and Stars because I just think it's beautiful.
Yeah,
I really
it's really
like
pretty.
it. And I think it's just because I really want to read it, to be honest. I'm just like, that was a bit creepy.
That was a bit creepy.
Like, but I like it in a non-creepy, non-stroking it kind of way.
I chose two for this. I chose Coraval and Heartless, just because the covers are generally beautiful. Like, they're really, really pretty. And even if I hadn't received these for my birthday, if I saw them in a shop, guaranteed I'd buy them. Like, guaranteed. Last but not least, question 15. What books do you want to read by the end of this year?
Okay, so I picked 3. One is Winter Song, and I've told you when we're planning to read that. Just because I'm obsessed with Labyrinth and I need to know that this book will be good and
Do it justice.
yeah, fill me with the Labyrinth feels. The second is Timeline by Michael Crichton, because he wrote Jurassic Park as well, and I really, really loved that, and I love the film Timeline as well, so I really want to see...
Sorry.
I really want to see what this book turns out like, and if it is like living up to my childhood nostalgia of the loving of the film, even if it might not be the best film for some people.
I mean, I fell asleep. And that's...
And the last one on my list is City of Fallen Angels, because I have this rule with myself that I'm going to read one Mortal Instruments book a year. I have to read...
You've never told me that. You're like, how you snuck that in there.
yeah. Because you know how it takes me ages, because I don't have necessarily... I can like pick them up and go with them, but I don't like feel the need to like read the next one immediately. So my rule has been to make sure that I at least read one a year, so that I will get through them eventually. I'll probably read more now that the Valentine thing is done.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I'm intrigued to see where that goes. And I did read all of the Infernal Devices.
You did.
Give me some props there.
Okay, I'll let you off a little bit.
Okay.
I have chosen for this one Jurassic Park. That is like literally my next book to read. Like, I'm going to start it, well, tomorrow. I've also chosen Legend by David Gemmell, simply because I know it's your favourite book.
I go on about it a lot.
Yeah, and I've always said I'll read it, so I don't know why I just keep putting it off. I just need to get down to it.
I think it's because it's a bit different.
Yeah.
It's not what you usually read, is it?
Yeah.
So.
And as well, I have chosen Red Rising by Pierce Brown, simply because we know that Mike from Books and Looks loves it. I know that you love it because you won't stop going on about it.
Sorry.
So I've got to see what all the hype is about. I've just got to do it. To be fair, it does sound brilliant. So
yeah, it's really well worth reading.
yeah, I am excited to read it. So that was our mid-year book freak out video. We've chosen not to tag anyone simply because it's like mid-July.
Yeah.
And there's just no point.
It's just getting to, you know, past mid-year now.
Yeah. If you want to do it, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah.
I mean,
we'd like to hear your answers for
we're
it.
not saying you can't do it.
I feel like a lot of people have already done it though.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We're just a bit behind.
So if you like this video, leave us a like, comment, subscribe, let us know if you liked any of the books that we liked, let us know if you would have answered Ember in the Ashes as many times as Hannah did.
I mean, it's life. I'm not even going to justify myself. I don't need to.
See you next time.
See you later.
Bye. I mean, the book Carnage.